It's a pleasure to be part of the 6th edition of a prestigious future financial investment, which continues to act as a curator of a global human collaboration in the society's most pressing environmental, social, governance, and economic issues to strengthen actions to shape a better world. And right now, it is my belief that our most pressing global conversation needs to be about credible, coherent, coordinated action towards climate solutions. As a fundamental part of a modern economy, the finance sector plays a vital role in taking action towards a transformational change with clear and achievable net zero goals. I'm proud to say, as a leading global financial institution, MUFG continues to make a significant contribution towards a sustainable environment and the society in enabling a new global energy order. We are doubling down on the climate change measures and environmental protection. This anchors how we assess and manage risk associated with our business activities, as well as setting a sustainable finance targets. And this is why we formulated our carbon neutral declaration in May 2021. It guides our implementation of a group-wide global environmental measures aimed at net zero emissions from our finance portfolio by 2050 and from our own operations by 2030. Our sustainability commitments made us the first Japanese bank to join the Net Zero Banking Alliance in June 2021, and we resolutely take our commitments seriously in supporting an orderly transition to a decarbonized economy through our financial services and solutions. We are also committed to proactively contribute to creating a sustainable society by fostering the virtuous cycle between the environment and the economy. Since joining the Net Zero Banking Alliance, MUFG has been proactively facilitating harmonious conversation with the membership banks. We have since led a working group tasked to develop a comprehensive framework for transition finance. Indeed, we believe that the transition finance is a key enabler for achieving a carbon neutrality by 2050. Earlier this month, MUFG, as the worker chair of the Financing and Engagement Working Group of the Net Zero Banking Alliance, published a transition finance guide. It contains a principle that financial institutions can use as a reference for their approach to transition finance of each sector and proposes the policy measures to make a transition finance more mainstream. A central message of this transition finance guide is that banks should clearly articulate support for their clients' net zero transition, including those clients in the high-emitting sectors. This requires clients to commit to net zero targets of their own and develop credible transition target strategies. As a next step, the Net Zero Banking Alliance member banks are encouraged to develop and disclose their own transition finance framework based on the guide. Over time, we will learn from our own transition finance experience and, combined with the lessons from our clients' experience, we will use that knowledge to recalibrate frameworks and guidelines as appropriate. It is very significant that sustainability has been at the center of a conversation here in the Kingdom and at the heart of Saudi Vision 2030 since its inception. The fact that leadership is ushering in on an era geared to reach net zero by 2060 by accelerating energy transition, achieving sustainability goals, and driving a new wave of investment has been adequately communicated to global markets, and the roadmap continued to gain traction. Indeed, the Kingdom's commitments was lately demonstrated by issuing a 100-year green bond, by a very strong and clear commitment by the Kingdom's Sovereign Wealth Fund towards its sustainability targets. We are confident that through mutually beneficial partnerships, the Kingdom's initiative towards a cleaner, greener, and a more inclusive future can succeed. Indeed, the Vision 2030 puts sustainability at the heart of everything Kingdom does, from policy development and investment to planning and infrastructure. By addressing today's energy and climate challenge creatively and responsibly, Vision 2030 is an inspiration to others around the world to share in building a sustainable future. The renewable potential here in the Kingdom and the broader region can lead the world, especially in the hydrogen. With a sufficient supply of land, existing industrial capacity, excellent solar and wind resources, and geographical proximity to growth markets, Saudi Arabia is clearly in an excellent position to become a dominant hydrogen exporter. The versatile and the flexible nature of hydrogen make it the Swiss Army knife of energy, with multiple uses as a fuel and a feedstock. It is expected to grow exponentially with the power to drive widespread decarbonization and to secure the Kingdom and the region continued energy sector leadership. Not limited to hydrogen, Saudi Arabia has a target of generating 50% of its power from renewables by 2030, predominantly driven by solar and wind, which underscores how serious the Saudi leadership is about carving the contours of a new energy world with its next generations of exports. Record growth in renewables, representing over 80% of all new power generating capacity last year, is the clearest sign yet that the energy transition is gathering pace. Having said that, recent events have shown that unplugging the current energy system before we have built a sufficiently robust alternative, but both economic and climate progress at risk, and calls into question whether we can ensure just transition that is equitable to all. A successful energy transition must be built on the progress for the economy and the climate in unison. It must be based on the engineering and economic evidence, acknowledge the multiple complexities and challenging trade-offs, as well as accelerate the deployment of practical solutions. And for that, we need an inclusive approach addressing energy transition and safeguarding energy security needs by leveraging the experiences of all sectors of society. Ultimately, what's needed is a comprehensible and harmonized strategy that is practical, pro-growth, and pro-climate. The strategy needs to value the complexity of energy and industrial systems and recognize the sheer velocity of transition required, demanding a greater alignment and collaboration and everything from capital allocation to product design, public policy, as well as a behavioral change on the demand side. With this, we look forward to COP27, just 2 weeks away, as a crucial platform of the key areas of finance, adaptation, and mitigation. Finance, of course, has a function in multiple climate issues, given its crucial role in the support and implementation. Accordingly, we must continue the important dialogue on concessional and grant-based public financing to complement transition finance driven by financial institutions. With this determined set of values, we support Saudi Arabia's vision with passion and vigor as it pursues sustainable growth. We look forward to being part of its long-term success in reconciling the sustainability needs of both energy and climate. We owe it our own children and the generation to come to deliver a more inclusive new world order. Thank you for listening and wishing you all for a productive conference. Thank you.